What's going on, guys? My name is Brody Kern, and I'm the founder of Wake Up Wealthy, a coaching program for men in business. And over the last few years, my team and I have been truly studying transformation for men in business, figuring out what habits, what behaviors, what routines, and what patterns of thinking serve them the most in their search for success in life and in business. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a background on who I am, what I've done, and why you should listen to me in this video. So I'm 26 years old. I am a serial entrepreneur. This is the third company that I have built. But before I started to build these companies, I was an individual who had a really turbulent past. I had struggled a ton with addiction, with being overweight, and I truly figured out for myself what created change and what allowed me to become a high-performing individual. The year that I was 21, I had been struggling with substance abuse and addiction for about 4 years. And that year, I nearly let my addictions take my life. I ended up overdosing 6 times and checking myself into a rehab facility. Now, whenever I got out of that rehab, this was kind of the catalyst for personal growth. I got exposed to Alcoholics Anonymous and really started to understand personal development. I really started to understand what happens when I take a look at myself, take a look at my behaviors, take a look at all my patterns, all my conditioning, and figure out what is going to create change, what is going to allow me to be a successful individual. I always knew that I was ambitious. I knew that I wanted a lot out of life, but I really struggled to deal with life on life's terms, much less go out and find success. And so, after I got out of rehab, there I was this college dropout junkie. I was totally unemployable. And so what I did is I got into the real estate space, and I ended up building up very quickly there, became a multiple 6-figure earner. I built a team, and ultimately found out that that work just wasn't filling me up. And I decided to leave the real estate industry, contrary to what everyone told me. Everyone thought I was crazy for wanting to leave the successful career that I had just built. And from that point, I got into the call center space. My first sponsor in AA was always in the call center space, and I was very fascinated by him and what he did. And so I started brokering call center contracts. Again, I built up an amazing income, and I just wasn't fulfilled. And so I came from a very low income background, and I had very negative beliefs and conditioning around money. So I thought that money was going to solve all my problems. And what I found is that I would focus super hard on making money in business, but then my health, my relationship, it would suffer. I had no spiritual connection, and I just wasn't able to bring it all together. And so in 2018, I was about to get married, and my future wife was also pregnant with our first son. And at this point, I knew that I couldn't continue to build in business the way that I was and be the kind of father or husband that I wanted to be. My health was suffering. Every single area of life except for business wasn't going that well. And so I knew that I had to bring it all together, and I made the decision to walk away from everything that I was doing in business to find a line of work that was fulfilling to me. Now, that is when I started Wake Up Wealthy. I got into the coaching space, and I started working with young men. I knew that I wanted to work with men because of the time that I had spent in AA. Going through AA, you go through a number of steps, and at the end of these steps, you carry this message to an alcoholic who still suffers. And so I was constantly working with other men who were trying to get sober and started to understand how they worked and really how to create change for them. And so I kind of fell in love with that work. And when I looked at how do I want to create a business or a life around this thing that I really, really enjoy, I figured that, I have a lot of skills in self-development. I've done it myself, and I've created change for a lot of men through sobriety. Now, I also had a lot of very valuable skills in business. I was very, very good at sales, was very good at understanding marketing, was very good at understanding systems and scaling quickly. And so at that point, I started Wake Up Wealthy. I really said, okay, I want to coach men. I started to get on social. I started to create some content and build the brand up from there. And once we built it up for a little bit, I started speaking at some events next to huge entrepreneurs. I've been on a ton of podcasts. I've been on TV talking about self-transformation. But in the beginning, I was really a reactionary coach. I coached about 60 clients, took on my first 60 clients, and I was just listening to their problems and applying solutions and creating change for these guys. But the one thing that I did well is I knew to build this thing long-term, I really had to take a data-driven approach. And so every single conversation that I had with these coaching clients, I was taking detailed notes on. And after about my first 60 clients, I scoured through all of this data that I had, and I really started to identify patterns of behavior, thinking, conditioning. I figured out what led to success and what led to failure, and self-destruction inside of these men in business. And so, when we talk about men in business, there are a lot of pressures that come down on us. There are a lot of things that we have to deal with because we are trying to create at such a high level. We are such ambitious men. And I'm going to get into these things here in a little bit. But after these 60 clients, after I went through all of this data, I identified all these patterns. I identified all these patterns of thinking, behavior, and figured out what worked. And I built a program and a methodology around that. And that is how our program was born. That is how our methodology was born. And I'm going to teach that to you guys here in just a minute. And then we're going to talk about what Wake Up Wealthy actually is, how it's structured. Now, our overall model comes down to 3 P's: power, performance, and profit. And I'm going to talk a little bit about these. And so let's talk about the first one, power, right? What is a place of personal power? Because when I talk about this, guys sometimes don't know what it means until they get inside of our world and start to really understand it. And so power is the ability to really go out there and create exactly what you want, to really go out there and do exactly what you say you were going to do, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of negative beliefs, and regardless of what everyone else in the external tells you. It is true internal alignment and confidence. And so let's talk about it, right? The things that I want to talk about here, because this is the key. This is where it all starts. Power leads into performance, performance leads into profit, and then it increases the cycle and the velocity in which you create. Now, when you have power, there's a couple things that you really, really have, right? Number one is clarity. You have ultimate clarity around your mission, your vision, and where you want to head. The second thing that you have is certainty. Now, when you hear me speak, when you hear me, you watch my videos, you got onto this page for some reason. The number one thing that individuals attract to about me is my certainty. Against all odds, day in, day out, I have always been able to create exactly what I say I am going to create, regardless of market conditions, competitors, what everyone said. And it is because of the amount of personal power that I have developed. It allows me to be certain in my actions. It allows me to be certain in the outcome. And that is the biggest fear that a lot of men struggle with when they come in and start working with us in business. Is they have all of this shit going on and they know what they're supposed to be doing. They kind of know where they want to go, but they have no level of certainty or confidence that they can get there. And so the next thing that you have when you have power is you have agency. And so let's talk about what that means. To have agency means you get to direct your actions, you get to direct everything that you do in life and in business on your terms. Most individuals, they do not have agency. They are victims to market conditions. They are victims to what is going on around them. They are victims to their circumstance. Agency is very fucking important if you want to create at a high level in business, and it comes as a result of personal power. Now, the other thing about personal power is you get to tell your truth all the fucking time. One of the biggest principles that we live by at Wake Up Wealthy is tell the fucking truth. When you have power, you can tell your truth without fear of being rejected, without fear of being judged. What is good about me telling my truth is that it connects with you, because my truth, for most men in business, is your truth. I'm not a guy who came in with the recipe for success. I'm not a guy who came in fitting the look for success, but because I told my truth, I was totally transparent and I was totally authentic in everything that I was doing, I was able to create at a high level and attract clients the way that I wanted. And that was because of my place of personal power. Now, the last thing that I wrote down is you have connection. You have connection with yourself. You have connection with those in your lives, because when you develop power, that means you have done the deep work. You have rooted out all limiting patterns of thinking, behavior, old conditioning, things that were instilled into you from a young age that are hindering your success. The raw and real truth is that most of us are just not wired for success, because our parents weren't wired for success and their parents weren't wired for success, and the school system, our friends, none of them are wired for success. And so over the course of our lives, we are taking on this conditioning, we are taking on these beliefs, and then we go out and try to create in business with an operating system that just isn't conducive for creating results or creating a life of freedom. And so it all starts with a place of personal power. When you have power, you have those things that I just talked about. When you do not develop a place of personal power, the number one thing that comes up is scarcity. That is fucking huge, because we all spend so much time operating from a place of scarcity, knowing what bills are coming up and knowing we have to create to pay those bills. There is a total lack of abundance there. And when you develop personal power and you develop that certainty in the end goal, you are then operating from a place of abundance that allows you to create at a high level, that allows you to think clearly while you are creating. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is force. Like, without power, you are always having to force. Just like I was talking about with the scarcity, you are looking at something that has to get done and you really have to force it. Force does not work. Power versus force is a huge conversation. There's a whole book on it, but power is what always wins. Power is what creates long-term in life, in business. Now at Wake Up Wealthy, we break life down into 4 areas: mind, body, spirit, and business. And it all still functions as a result of this formula. Now, when you do not develop a place of personal power, this is where compulsion happens, right? This is where you see individuals who they make compulsive monetary decisions to fuel the vision of themselves. This is something that I struggled with in the past. Before I really stumbled upon this method, before I really figured out this sauce for not only success in business, but fulfillment, I was someone who, like I said, I came from a negative background. I had no conditioning for money. I didn't understand how to think about money. I didn't understand how to use money to grow or to keep money. And so I was forcing decent income in business, but then, I was doing all sorts of shit. I was literally just spending money on dumb shit so that others would think I was more successful. And it was compulsive behaviors every time. I would say, I know that I shouldn't do this. I know that I shouldn't do this. And then I would do it anyways. I would make these decisions that were not conducive to long-term success. So compulsion leads to self-destructive behaviors, because when you make those types of compulsive decisions, it is typically on something that isn't congruent with your end goal, isn't congruent with the highest version of yourself that you were trying to attain. And so when I would make one of these compulsive behaviors, I would eat poorly or I would spend frivolously, it would cause me then to really start to judge myself. I would feel guilt, shame, and this would start this really negative cycle that just didn't put me in a good headspace to create inside of business. And then what I would do is I would start to blame everything else in my life, because I wasn't operating from a place of power. I wasn't telling my truth and I wasn't taking ownership over anything that was going on in my life. And blaming other things leads to you owning a victim mindset. And a victim mindset is the number one thing that will remove all personal power, because when you're blaming other stuff, when you're saying, hey, this happened to me, you are giving all power away. Therefore, you cannot create, because without power, you cannot create. Now, let's move into performance. Now, when we talk about performance at Wake Up Wealthy, we're talking about performance in the areas of mind, body, spirit, and business. And we're not talking about feeling good or fucking motivation or inspiration. We're talking about proven systems that drive results in each area. And so we have developed a system to really break down all of those old patterns of conditioning, behavior, thinking, and upload a new operating system that allows people to think and perform at a high level. We are truly rewiring the subconscious mind to be able to create. Now, things that you have with our performance system, you're gonna have total consistency, total predictability in your life and in your business. And this allows you to have leverage. This allows you to really take a step back and still let the system move so that you can analyze data and operate and make intuitive decisions inside of your life, inside of your business, to be able to create at a high level, to be able to drive those results that you want, to be able to help the amount of people that you want. This area is absolutely important because it takes daily performance at a very high level to create over the long term. All of us want to, if you're watching this video, you want to build big shit in business. You want to build big shit in life. You want to be a good father, a good husband, a stellar fucking business person. You truly want to crush it in life, have a high quality of experience of life, and be at the fucking top. Now, if you don't perform every fucking day to where it compounds, you're never going to get there. And that's the fucking truth. You have to create at a high level every fucking day. You have to be able to hit non-negotiables inside of your personal life and in your business to be able to perform. Now, when we talk about performance, when we're teaching performance, we have systems in the areas of mindset, body, spirituality, and business that we are going to go deep on, that we are going to make trackable and measurable and quantifiable so that you can optimize the data day over day. If you can't analyze data, you can't grow, because you're just shooting from the hip all the time. There's no way to actually get to where you want to go without a clear path and without knowing when you need to pivot, when you need to recalculate your goals, when you need to recalculate the things that you were pushing towards. And so this is where you're going to experience exponential growth, is in that daily performance through the compound effect. It is really going to take you to the next level by living this way of life every single day. And you're going to have success in all 4 areas of life. I want you to think back to my personal story that I told you before I got into this business. And you may experience this. It's very likely that if you're watching this video, you do experience this. Now, I would push really hard in business. Every other area of my life would struggle. Then I would be like, okay, I'm going to fix those areas. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to fix my body. I went and I ran a 50-mile ultra marathon and I got my body all in shape. And while I did that, my business was suffering. My relationship was suffering. And I always struggled to pull it all together, to have true success in all 4 areas at the same time. And that is what I really needed, because you need your mind rock solid to go out there and get your body to where it needs to be. You need to have a strong fucking mind to get super fit, period. Now, to perform at a high level inside of your spiritual connection, you need to have your body optimized. You literally cannot eat shit food and then expect to have a connection with the universe, a connection with God, because truly you are not vibrating at a good frequency. Like, where your body is at, health-wise, the things that you put into it, that is what determines your frequency that you be able to put out. Fit motherfuckers, they're also dialed in spiritually. They can attract the things that they want in their lives. And when you have the mindset, when you have the body, when you have the spirituality, you have everything that you need to go out there and create at a high level in business. And that is why these core 4 areas are so fucking important. Without one, the others all fail. They are a house of cards. You can find short-term success in one area while letting the others suffer. But to do it over 10, 20, 30 years like we're all wanting to do, you have to bring them all together. And so that is what this performance system is about. If you don't develop power, what is going to happen when you go out and try to perform is you are going to be a slave to the outcome. And what I mean by that is you're going to set a target and you're going to have to push to it. You are going to have to create manual growth, because you are not going to be able to let a system run for you, because there is no system. Think about this whole thing like basic systems theory. Power is the input. Performance is the system. Profits are the output. Okay? That is what I want you to understand. So there is no input into the system if you do not develop personal power. There is no system when you are not approaching every single area of life from systems theory, from trackable, measurable data that can be optimized. And so you are only going to find single area success because you are only focusing on manual growth. You are only focusing on creating the next thing in front of you. You can't see the big picture. You have no vision, and there's no way to build anything or to lead people when you don't have this and this. So let's talk about what happens when you do have this. You develop sick personal power. You lead it into a sick fucking performance system in every area of life. You are going to reap huge rewards. This is where profits come, and they are going to come in the form of financial abundance, right? You're going to be more clear up here than you ever have been. You're going to have the body that you want, and you are going to have the spiritual connection that you want, because when you develop these 2 things, you can quite literally create any fucking thing that you were looking for. And I'm telling you, I have worked now with over 200 male entrepreneurs who are 6- and 7-figure earners. I've put them all on this exact same system, and I have watched it produce the same results every fucking time. There is a science in what we do at Wake Up Wealthy. It is what makes us the best. Our company is truly the best performance company for men in business in the entire fucking world. And that's the fact. It is that simple. And it's because I took this data-driven approach and I really looked at, hey, what is going to create the results time and time again? The thing that we can all rest in is that men in business have the same patterns, right? We all look at things the same way. We want the same shit. Therefore, when you dive into a system that has predictably created results for hundreds of men before you, you can expect to get the same result. I've worked with men in every space: real estate, insurance, financial advising, e-commerce, fucking social media, like in obscure stuff, payment processing, like everything under the sun. Guys have come through because I didn't build a system for specific industries. I didn't build a system for a super specific type of person. I said, hey, if you're an ambitious fucking man, I've got exactly what you are looking for. Now, there's a fourth P that comes into play here, and we're gonna talk about it in a minute. I'm gonna flip this board over and tell you a little bit more about what we do specifically. This is just our overall methodology. This is how we create results for the guys. This is the mindset that we get them into, the path that we take them through. And so the last P is proximity. These little guys right here, these are the brotherhood. The Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood are these hundreds of men that I have coached, and they are all collectively looking to create the same results in business and in life for themselves and for each other. Now, when you keep proximity to this network, when you keep proximity to the brotherhood, it amplifies the speed in which this system can run. Whenever this is pouring into you and pouring into this system, because right now this is just you working through this. This is just you pushing, right? But now, when you've got hundreds of other male entrepreneurs who have been exactly where you are and they know exactly where you want to go, when you have them also pouring into your system, it increases the speed by, 10, 20, 30, 50, 100x in the velocity in which you can repeat this system. It is the fucking code to success. Now, let's flip this board over and talk a little bit about what exactly the Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood is. Now, I'm really gonna break it down. This is the company, this is our offer. The Brotherhood is the first thing that we send everyone to. And so the way that I want you to think about Wake Up Wealthy, I want you to think about it as more than just some coaching program where we teach you about Facebook ads, or we teach you about sales, or we teach you about fucking Amazon automation. Wake Up Wealthy is more than that. Wake Up Wealthy is a way of life. It is a lens in which you view life, business, relationships through that allows you to create at such a high level, and it has been proven time and time again. And when guys come in to start working with our company, the first thing that they do is they become a part of the Brotherhood. And that Brotherhood is a 90-day program. And this Brotherhood, the only thing that I ask from them is I say, hey, I don't care how much personal development you've done. I don't care how much business you've done before you came into here. For the next 90 days, I need you to adopt this way of life and let it do the work inside of your life and your business, because it is going to make everything so much easier, so much more effortless for you to be able to create. One thing that we say at Wake Up Wealthy is an entrepreneur alone is an entrepreneur at risk. Entrepreneurship is so isolating, and especially for ambitious men, because there's things and pressures that come with building a business, leading a team, scaling your income that, dude, I can't go to my wife with, I can't go to business partners with, I can't go to my parents with, and I'm expected to just internalize them. And I've created a container where everybody comes with those pressures and they have the ability to sift through the bullshit, to find the clarity and tell their truth and go out there and create. And so Wake Up Wealthy is delivered through a 3-part system: mastery method, group coaching, and brotherhood. And so let's talk about the mastery method. This is the online video section. This is the course that you go through. It is pre-recorded content with tons of resources. Now, an embodiment of the mastery method is truly what it means to be a Wake Up Wealthy brother. Every single guy inside of our culture, inside of our brotherhood, is living by the code that is laid out inside of the mastery method. And the mastery method takes you through a very specific process. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify everything that is holding you back, limiting beliefs, subconscious things that you hold on to that cause you to do shit that isn't conducive to your end goal. This is conditioning, things that your parents instilled into you. This is everything that is going on at the subconscious level, and we're gonna wipe that shit out of there. Step 1 of the mastery method is to gain clarity and wipe the software clean. Now, once we've cleared the software, we're going to upload you with a new operating system. This is the way of life. This is the lens in which you see life and business through. And once you are living this way, once you are understanding the mastery method and truly following it day in, day out, there's going to be a number of things that come to your life. Consistency, predictability, certainty, new levels of success that you never thought possible, total fucking clarity and serenity. Imagine if you were waking up and you didn't have that fear anymore. You didn't have that anxiety around creating a business. You didn't have that what if it doesn't work out feeling. That is what the mastery method gives you. It reminds you and plants deep into your subconscious that the end is secure. Everything that you want in life is going to come to you if you follow this fucking path. It is that simple. Now, that's the mastery method. That is step one. Let's talk about step two. Step two of delivery is group coaching. So we do 2 group coaching calls a week delivered via Zoom. These are led by myself, and I've told you a little bit about my story, and head coach at the program, Julian Rosen. Julian is a guy who, for the last 5 years, has been studying the neuroscience behind change. He's been working with athletes, CEOs at a very, very high level. Now, Julian came through our program. He was already a multiple 6-figure coach, and he came through our program as a client to increase his business. Now, Julian became so obsessed with our mission and wanted to be a part of it. And so I ended up hiring him because Julian put the science behind everything that I knew to be true. I had built this program around all the data that I had gotten, but Julian implemented the science, the fucking neuroscience and epigenetics behind change, why men actually change and how they do it at a cellular level. And so we have 2 very different skill sets that bring this awesome culture into the group coaching. And so we do 2 different styles of calls a week. The first one is called the execution call. This is done on Thursdays. This is where we do deep work. This is where you see big breakthroughs happen. There's no other community in the world where you will see grown men with fucking wives, girlfriends, kids even, huge businesses. And they will show up on this call and they will be transparent. They will talk about what they were really struggling with. They will tell their fucking truth, the things that they can't take to their wives, their business partners, or whatever. They will bring inside of this brotherhood because they are willing to change. And we've created a container where guys can do that. And so there's no other place in the world where you will see a grown man break down and break through like that. And it's so fucking powerful to watch someone go through that because number one, it's the same thing that you're going through. I know it, you know it, everybody in the brotherhood knows it. We all struggle with the same fucking shit. And number two, it gives you permission to be transparent. It gives you permission to get uncomfortable, to step right outside of that comfort zone and truly fucking grow. That is what is special about the execution call. It is the highlight of everyone's week. I look forward to it all fucking week. The energy inside of this culture is fucking electric. Now, also on these calls, this is where we expand on the stuff that is laid out inside of the mastery method. Because inside of the mastery method, after you get through this process, there's gonna be arsenals in the areas of mind, body, spirit, and business, where you're gonna learn all the tactics, all the tracking, everything that you need to really create exactly what you were looking for in business. Now, and we're gonna expand on those and really teach you what you need. Sometimes we talk about business, sometimes we talk about spirituality, sometimes we talk about body, mindset, all of it, but everything that we do brings it all together. And so those are the execution calls. They're fucking sick. Now, the second type of call we do is called the Brotherhood call. It's done on Sundays, and it is built around one core purpose, and that is accountability. So Sunday mornings, a form goes out that is called Reflect and Project. Now, we take a real deal audit of how we did the week before in the areas of mindset, body, spirituality, and business. And we set targets for the new week. And so everybody goes around, we go through their form briefly. If there's bottlenecks or blockages that are holding them back, that didn't allow them to hit their goals that week, we break that shit down and root that shit out and really set the tone for the upcoming week. And so after the Brotherhood call completes, there's something that we do, and this is called, these are called power pods. And so we take you, and we partner you up with 3 or 4 new brothers every single week. And you guys go in a group chat, and day over day, you guys hold each other accountable to increasing what is called your DPS. Now, what is a DPS? It is a daily power score. One thing that I found from working with a lot of men is, there's very small things that create huge change in life and business. And it just seems too overwhelming to track all the data unless you gamify it. So everything that we do inside of Wake Up Wealthy is tracked and gamified. It makes it fun, it makes it competitive, and it truly takes your performance to the next level. And so throughout the week in your pod, you are going to hold your brothers accountable to increasing their DPS day over day, every fucking day of the week. And next week, you're gonna be in a pod with new brothers, which means you get to build a new relationship, which means you really get to connect with other very successful entrepreneurs who not only are like-minded, but they're operating on the exact same fucking system. They're struggling with the same shit and they're achieving at a high level, which leads me down to the third part of delivery. And that is the brotherhood. Hundreds of 6 and 7 figure earners, all men in business just like you who want to fucking win. And what they've come to understand is that the success of one brother will mean the success of all brothers. They are ruthlessly committed to not only their own goals, but to getting you to hit yours, because it is what allows them to fuel their system. Remember the system that I had before, proximity to the thing. If they fuel your circle, you will fuel theirs. And that is what is fucking special about this thing. I just got the chills talking about it because it is so goddamn powerful and it is so proven. It's nailed down to a science. And so, dude, you're gonna connect with guys like Julian and I are stellar coaches. I think I'm the best fucking performance coach in the world, 100%. But all of the guys in this program are also studs at what they do. Think about what I mentioned earlier: e-commerce, real estate, insurance, financial planning, merchant processing. Those are just the few coming to mind. These hundreds of guys doing hundreds of different things. And you get to learn from experts in their spaces. What is that going to do for you? What is that going to do? That's going to give you partnership opportunities. I've had guys who met inside of the brotherhood partner up and start 7-figure businesses together. I've had guys from Belgium fly to the United States to hang out with other guys in the brotherhood. This thing has truly grown to a level that I never thought it would, and I am grateful to be a part of it. Now, it is time for me to challenge you. Everything that you have watched on this video, everything that you have learned is now being offered to be put in your hands. If you want to develop personal power, if you want to grow at a high level in business, if you truly want to create the life that you have always said that you were going to, improve to everyone else that you are going to fucking make it, this thing is for you. If your ego got triggered during this video, good. You're exactly where you need to be. If you're listening to this video and you're saying, yeah, I feel that, good. You are exactly where you need to be. If you are a man in business, you are exactly where you need to be watching this video, because you don't have to do it alone anymore. You don't have to feel that isolation. You don't have to feel that anxiety, that stress, that what if it doesn't work out? Because brother, I built this thing for you. I stepped outside of my comfort zone fearlessly to create, to make the path easier step by step so that you can do it. Hundreds of men came before you and they are reaching out a helping hand. If you know you are capable of more, if you know that you are capable of true success in all areas of life and you want to get there quickly and effortlessly, this is for you. Click the apply button below and I will see you inside the brotherhood.